The Chernobyl disaster arose from a nuclear reactor accident at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Ukraine, which was then part of the Soviet Union. Chernobyl's name has become infamous due to the resulting fatalities and widespread radioactive contamination that occurred. In the early morning hours of April 26, 1986, technicians were conducting an unauthorized test of one of the plant's 4 nuclear reactors. As part of the test, engineers disabled emergency backup systems and then initiated an uncontrolled chain reaction in the core of the reactor. This combination of human error, violation of operating rules, and deactivation of vital safety systems caused the reactor to overheat, catch fire, and explode. The explosion ripped the roof off the reactor unit and released 8 tons of radioactive material into the atmosphere. That was 400 times more fallout than was released by the atomic bombing of Hiroshima in 1945. The facility's lack of an adequate containment structure added to the problem. The reactor core was eventually sealed off by airdropping a cement mixture over the reactor, but it was too little, too late, and the release of radioactive material continued over a 12-day period. Only after Swedish instruments detected fallout from the explosion did Soviet authorities admit that an accident had even occurred. The lack of communication from the Soviet government not only slowed the evacuation of people living close to the disaster, it also stunned the world. In fact, this disaster is often considered one of the causes leading to the fall of the Soviet Union. This disaster necessitated the evacuation of about 135,000 people from the surrounding area, and contamination eventually covered an area of about 100,000 square miles. It caused radiation sickness and burns in more than 200 emergency personnel and firefighters. 31 of those first responders died soon after they were exposed to contamination. Although the heaviest contamination occurred in the vicinity of the reactor itself, it soon became widespread. Large areas in Ukraine, Belarus, and Russia were badly contaminated, resulting in the evacuation and resettlement of 336,000 people. According to official post-Soviet Union data, about 60% of the radioactive fallout landed in Belarus. Sadly, infants in Ukraine and Belarus also received radiation doses via cow's milk, and the incidence of thyroid cancer in children rose dramatically. Many residents of the area around Chernobyl and in the areas where the radiation spread have a variety of serious health problems, including several forms of cancer. This was by far the worst nuclear accident ever, and it highlighted flaws in the design and operation of the Chernobyl reactor. It was so bad that the International Atomic Energy Agency recommended the decommissioning of all Chernobyl-type reactors. The accident prompted the upgrading of safety measures at nuclear power plants everywhere, but nuclear power is still out of favor in many countries because of the magnitude of the Chernobyl disaster. Chernobyl remains shrouded in controversy as to its immediate and long-term effects. The key issue is the funding and construction of a new roof over the destroyed reactor. The current structure, which still contains some 20 tons of radioactive fuel and dust, is cracking and not expected to last much longer. There are fears that more radioactive dust will be released if the structure collapses. The area around the reactor is still so dangerous that it cannot be visited without special equipment, and only for very short amounts of time, which further complicates decision-making about what should be done next. Despite the Chernobyl disaster, many experts believe that nuclear power still compares favorably with other sources of energy in its impact on human health and the environment. For that and other economic reasons, nuclear power is expected to continue to play a role in helping to meet the world's growing demand for energy.